PGA Nation, we are back and we are continuing the first round of Golf Madness. Big draft tonight, coming off a not so eventful U.S. Open with Wyndham Clark. I guess he didn't win by a dominating score. Ended up being only, one stroke at the end of the day. But it felt dominating from Thursday to Sunday. He led. He played great. Congrats to Wyndham Clark. I do think, however, now the U.S. Open's wrapped up, there's probably going to be a few more birdies this week than we saw last week. These courses might not play all that similar, but it should be a fun draft, and we have a loaded cast to draft with us tonight. Before we get into it, Spence, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Unfortunately, my solo bullet that I had was on Scotty Scheffler pre-tournament, and watched Wyndham Clark make everything for 3 days, and then your boy Sam Burns, who you bet on, ended up making a run on Sunday and almost got there, and Scotty went in reverse, unfortunately. But it was a good overall tournament for me. Won a little bit of money. That's always a good thing. A lot of exposure to players who were going to make the cut. That was a good thing. Excited to do this draft, though, tonight. This is, you asked the question to Sia last week. Does he feel pressure being a part of this show in the past and being one of the co-hosts? Sia kind of gave an answer of, not really, don't really feel any pressure. I gave the answer for Sia. I feel pressure on this. I feel like this is our baby. I mean, you're the one that created this, Joel. So if anybody has pressure, you'll probably have the most pressure next week. But I think there's a lot of pressure on this, and we'll talk about the crew that we have here tonight. We'll talk about the slight change that has come into play, but we will have fun on this show.
Well, I was going to say, you kind of buried the lead there. The tease is, if you felt pressure before, that's just pressure for being on the show. But now there's a big cash prize to the winner, thanks to a new sponsorship by Spencer.
LEVR, our good friends over there, and we're very excited to be partnered with them. We're going to be promoting their content throughout this show. Please check them out if you have not already. We will announce some of the cash prizes and what this looks like over the next couple of weeks. We're still finalizing those details, but everybody who's in this contest will have a chance for that prize. We're going to put together, I'm telling everybody right now, a sick belt for the winner. That's something that we're trying to construct for whoever ends up winning this. But it's the very first step of what we hope to turn this show into one day, that it becomes a yearly tradition, and the title means something. I think World Series of Poker. I've always said that every single time on the show, but those bracelets mean something, and I'm hoping that we can turn this belt to mean something if we can take this show off the ground and really make it what I'm hoping it can become.
And if you're not excited enough about it already, the winning prize will have a comma in it. So that's how you know it's going to be a decent amount. It's going to be a comma. There's going to be a comma. So we're going to have a winner. There's something to play for here, okay? And a huge shout out to LEVR Bets, because really, if you're looking for a place to play some bets, if you're using crypto or anything like that, that's the place to go. We thank them. They're our partner. And that's where you should go make some bets on this tournament and make even more money. Now, with that being said, we did have to call in the big guns because we can't have Spencer drafting tonight and advancing. So congrats first to AK of the Millie Go 2, not only single-handedly defeated Michigan, what was it, 17 years ago when he was in college, when he played for Appalachian State? Single-handedly.
I don't know about single-handedly, but
single-handedly. He
we were there.
Also won the play-in round to get to this spot in this play-in tournament with Spencer and Kenny. AK, how you doing tonight?
Man, I am great. I brought something. Oh. I don't know if that's going to be bad luck or not. I didn't think about that until afterward, but it's my daughter's umbrella, if you can't see it. But I just want to know, before we started this group chat, that I was ready. I said we're going to make it. We're going to be Mary Poppins up in this thing with all the umbrellas that are going to be going on. I'm going to close that before I get bad luck. But I am great. I want to shout out Mike. He and I had a nice little banner going back and forth. He put up a valiant fight, but I've drafted a very boring and consistent lineup where I had to watch Patrick Cantlay play golf for 4 straight days, which was absolutely agonizing. But we're thankful to come out with a win, and now we're here to go for round 2. I guess not, this technically is round 1, right? Or 2. I'm not sure. Anyways.
Technically round 1. No,
round 1.
Uno.
We're in. We made it through the playing game. We're in the big dance, and now we got our blue suede shoes on. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. And last but certainly not least, veteran of the show, Lil Kenny, who is also known for the Moonshot Show on Twitch. If you follow Kenny, you have known to be able to hit some big bets. I follow Kenny, and you can hit some home runs from Kenny's page. So make sure, if you don't already and you're following this show, you follow Kenny. You will certainly find some winners. Kenny, how you doing tonight?
Hopefully ready to find some winners because we started hot early in the season, and then anyone who has followed me can tell you point blank. We've been on a bit of a skid, so I'm looking forward to this. I don't play a lot of DFS. I even said before the show, I think the last time I actually played DFS was the last King of the Draft that we did, I think, with Byron. So coming in a little raw here, but this allowed me to look at the board a little differently this week and see if it could maybe just bring some overall good juju into my recipe here. So excited to get back, man, and just looking forward for a big change of pace. I mean, you already mentioned it. Like you go from Shinnecock to a birdie fest with what looks like some pretty great conditions, other than maybe a little bit of rain on Friday. So it's going to be interesting to see just who keeps their foot on the gas and just flips on the birdie alarm and puts on their birdie making pants and goes low. It's going to be a different week, and hopefully my strategy on here doesn't get clowned too badly. We'll see how we do.
I mean, you said, I think the most interesting thing is how much different this week is going to play from the standpoint of, last week was going to be one of the hardest tests they played all year in terms of ability to get birdies. This is going to be much easier, pretty easy to get birdies. We're going to get a pretty low score. Last week there was a pretty big cut. This week there's no cut. So how you play, how you break down the field is going to vary. We also have a little bit of a hiccup in the show. So this was originally supposed to be a 4-man due to some scheduling and technical difficulties. It's only going to be a 3-man draft tonight. So 2 will advance, 3 men drafting, and we will spin the wheel like we do every week to determine the draft order. So what that means is we'll spin the wheel. Whoever it lands on first doesn't necessarily get the first pick. They get to pick where they want to draft. So since it's a snake draft, some people might want to draft third. They may prefer to get 2 in a row at the wheel opposed to going first. So totally up to you guys. But while we have the draft board up, Spence, go ahead and give it a spin. And I'll start with you, Kenny. If it's up to you, Kenny, where would you like to pick here tonight?
Man.
And this is for you, Kenny. Oh, no, this is for the first choice. Sorry.
So I have first choice, but I don't get first pick. I have first choice of my pick. I guess just
if you want first, you can.
I'll take first. We'll keep it simple. I'll take first.
Oh, all right. Kenny will be drafting first. Well, I guess we'll find out who he's targeting soon. All right, Spence, spin it again. And while it goes, AK, where are you hoping to land here?
Man, I like the back-to-back, so I would. Well, it doesn't really matter what I say. It
right.
doesn't matter what you say. We'll find out.
I mean, I think to make AK uncomfortable, I will go with the third spot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's gonna make me uncomfortable.
I may have hurt you there by asking you. You should have just kept your mouth shut.
You know what? I should have put my umbrella back up. Is what I should have done. And said,
the umbrella bad luck. The bad juju has begun.
See? Damn,
Yeah,
I should have thought about that.
Well, I want to give everyone a quick reminder in case you're new to the show tonight, or if you haven't been following along. What we're doing tonight is we're doing a snake draft. It works like your typical fantasy football draft. We're going to draft 3 teams. Kenny will go first, AK second, Spencer third, since we'll get 2, and then we'll go back. The one big caveat with our draft is you do need to be able to afford each player on DraftKings. So you can't just take all the best players. You have to actually be able to afford your lineup. So make sure you budget accordingly as you go. If you have any questions, or if you want anything to get discussed on the show tonight, drop it in the chat. Whatever you guys drop in the chat, we will get to every question tonight. So don't be bashful. Get in the chat on YouTube. Drop any questions that you have. We'll make sure that we address it. But Kenny, with the first pick, you're on the clock.
Like I said, my strategy here may get clowned, but I'm just playing it as I see it. First pick, I will be taking Scotty Scheffler. Thank you. Good evening. Good night.
Obviously, we don't need to discuss how Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the world. He obviously is. It's a great pick. I guess my only question, I'll ask you here, Spence. If you have the first pick, obviously Scheffler's not cheap at 13.8. Would you have taken Scheffler first?
I don't know, because here's the thing, and we don't have 4 people in this contest now. Like, we have a 3-man, and the advantage of having Scotty in a 3-man where 2 advance is probably very significant. I've heard people write into the chat that have been talking about this, that whoever gets Scotty is, I mean, we even see it, just draft Scotty and you will win. Like, that is the consensus of what this is. And in a 3-man, I would say that it probably does help Kenny to be able to take Scotty first. I think he made the right pick.
I would argue, though, even in a 4-man, I think, I say argue, like I guess my first question would be, for normal DFS formats, like I don't have ownership or anything like that in front of me. Like at this price point, are people playing Scotty in normal builds this week? Because it admittedly is tough to get around him. I found a lineup that I loved, and I'm just hoping I can pick the pieces off here. But like, what is his ownership going to be at 13.8? Because like it is difficult to build around him.
I see 33%. I mean, that's the number one owned player on the slate for me. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to your point, I would argue Scotty is probably better off played in a 3 or 4 man in a small pool type thing.
100%.
Where you know you're going to get a high floor regardless, and you can build around that. If you're going for a GPP is where I would actually like Scotty less, because he really needs to win for him to work in the GPP. Where you can get away with a top 5 or even a top 10 and still win.
I can't stand it because I love watching Scotty play golf, and now every time he does something, I'm gonna have to be like, that sucks. So you're also the mental warfare that this is going to cause me is that's a very good play, my friend. Because
AK, I got good news and bad news for you. Which one do you want first?
Bad news.
Bad news is you can't have him because he's already gone. But the good news is you're up now. You can take anyone else that you want.
Here's what I'm going to do, because look, this guy loves this course. This is his home course. And I'm going to go a little bit down the board because I'm not going to miss out on this guy. I will come back and pick later out of my top tier guys, but I'm taking Keegan Bradley, which some people are like, oh, that's crazy to take him with your first pick. But this dude loves this course. Loves this course. What does he want? 2 out of the last 3 years? Yeah, I'm taking Keegan Bradley.
Wait, but I'm just curious, Spence, how did you know before he said it? That's who he was taking.
Home course.
Yeah.
You just because he said home course. Okay. All right, good point. I'm looking, I'm like, how did he put that in? He didn't say anything yet. Oh, that was good. Okay. All right. Keegan off the board. I mean, you said it. I mean, he's playing his home course. He's won it 2 of the last 3 years. I don't think it's shocking that Keegan Bradley went in the first round at all. I think I was expecting him to go off the board there. So Keegan Bradley at 8,400. Spence, now you wanted this spot. Are the 2 guys that you wanted to get or you would have taken with your first 2 picks still available?
They are. When everybody hears the second name, you may question why I've decided to go this route. But to make it simple at the very beginning part of this, I have a strategy in mind. You know, Kenny talked about his. I also have a little bit reverse. I was telling AK, like, as we were talking and we were having our little group chats of stuff and people were talking on X, like, there was no way I was going to spin and get the number 1 pick. Like, I already knew that wasn't going to be the thing. I had tried to figure out how am I going to build this without Scotty for that reason. I've decided to go in this specific direction, and I'm going to take Ludwig Oberg at $9,800. It has been a very disappointing year as far as win equity goes. We continue to see him not get across the finish line. We continue to see him struggle when he gets into contention. And I think a lot of those things are prudent when we're having a conversation about win equity and a golfer that's won twice. And it really, I mean, if you go back to 2023 when he won the RSM, we only have 1 other victory on his resume. This is a golfer that I think people expected a lot more of. And Joel, you and I think we've expected a lot more of him. I feel like you and I draft him every single time we get a chance to. And sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. But I just like from a contextual standpoint of what this does for my lineup, it puts me in this really clean spot to be able to build. And with AK going down and taking Keegan into a value zone and Kenny going up and taking Scotty Scheffler, I'm just trying to differentiate a little bit of what these lineups look like so we're not all drafting from the same range. And I thought that was my cleanest way to do it. So I'll start with Oberg. The second name I'm going to take, and I am telling everybody right now, I'm probably going to regret making this decision.
Love that.
This is somebody that has no course history whatsoever. Every time he plays it, he has struggled. I am going to take Siwoo Kim at $8,800. And if you look at it, withdraw 31st, 3 missed cuts. I understand there's no miscut this go around. I have been arguing this for 6 months now, that Siwoo Kim is a legitimate top 10 player in the world that doesn't get treated as such. And I got egg all over my face at the US Open. That was my highest exposure golfer that I had on the slate. And unfortunately, we saw him implode on day one, couldn't really put the pieces back together to work himself up the leaderboard enough to make the cut. A lot of it was done by the short game. When I dove into the statistics for him, the ball striking was incredible. It's always that putter that can go ice cold, but I just think that this is a different golfer at a different time of his life, at a different point of his career. We've seen him win big tournaments in the past. If you talk about the Players' Championship, I am throwing a dart here, and I am hoping for the best on Siwoo, and I understand that the course history wouldn't necessarily suggest this, but I just think that we continue to get a top 10 golfer that doesn't get treated as such.
I see. This is where I really like the Siwoo pick, and I was not with you last week. I was more scared of Siwoo's history on really difficult, challenging setups in U.S. Opens and stayed away from him. But this is the opposite. And the reason I really like him this week is people are probably going to be disappointed like you were from him last week, but you didn't fall for that trick because you're going right back to the well here with your second overall pick. And maybe the ownership is going to go lower. People are going to be disappointed by the result, but it's a completely different setup. You know, he has struggled on those really challenging courses. I think this is where Siwoo makes his money. It's a lot easier course. Like you said, not much of a history here, but I think he can go out this week and go really low, especially the way he's been striking the ball. So I really like this turn here for you, Spencer. AK, you got Bradley. You're up here with your second pick. I saw you made a little bit of a grimace when Ludwig went off, so I think you maybe had a pick stolen. Where are you going to go with your second pick?
I'm more upset about Siwoo. Ludwig, that guy. Every show I go, I was telling he's the Trevor Lawrence of golf, or the Justin Herbert, or whatever you want to call him. He looks the part. He's unbelievable. His swing is incredible. He hits the ball in less than a second, and then he just explodes out of nowhere. You're like, he's up there, and then he's gone. I don't know, but he looks the part. He looks phenomenal. He hits a great ball. He's fun to watch. He's put together. He's made out of a lab, whatever. And I can just never play him because I'm just like, golly, dude, that guy lets me down all the time. Just from my perspective, he's just one of those guys. Everybody has those guys, right? You're just like, I can't believe it. But he is, I think if there's a course that he can play, it's probably going to be this one. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of in and out on him, but you know, he is a machine, and he is a very good golfer to watch. But there was another guy that used to, before he transferred tours, it was Harold Varner. I was like, golly, dude, that guy used to make me so mad. But I have a list now that I just keep a running list of won't play.
How long is the list?
It's up to like 5 golfers. I have it written down somewhere. I can't remember where it's at, but I think it's like DeChambeau, because ever since he started doing the YouTube thing and his iron sucked at the Masters a couple years ago, it's Ludwig Oberg, and there's like 3 other guys. I'll have to find it whenever somebody else is picking, then I'll read it off. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Quick question on the list. Is it possible for someone to get off the list? Or once you're
you can get off the list.
You can get off, okay.
But you only get one shot. You only get one shot.
How do you get off? You have to win a tournament?
Yeah, you got to win. If I put you in the lineup, you got to win.
Okay, I like that.
So it's pretty simple. Okay, here we go. Second pick, I'm going right down Broadway. I want Xander Schauffele.
Xander, number 2, off the board. We're going back to the top of the board at 10-2. Tell me, why you like Xander?
I just love Xander. I think he was playing fairly well last week. And I just think he's playing good golf this year. I like it. He's what is he, top 12 in his last 2 out of his last 3 events. He's been top 10 pretty much all year long outside of the Truist Championship. But the dude's just playing really good golf. I'm a guy who's, if you're playing good, I want to play you, right? Sometimes I pick these guys without looking at all the metrics as far as like, we know this is a 100 to 150 course. 40% of the shots or approach shots are from that area, so on and so forth. I like the way Xander's playing. I like how he hung back. He got another top 14 in the U.S. Open, which he's done every time he's played in it. He's just playing good golf. I don't think a lot of people are going to pick him. I think Scotty's going to get picked a lot. I think he's a solid pick. I think I played him last time we did this. I think I played him in Cantlay. So I'm in on Xander. Let's go Xander.
All right. Xander Schauffele off the board. Kenny, you have Scotty Scheffler. You got 2 more. I think what's interesting is, I mean, it's still very early, but because you took Scheffler first, we can say this. All three of you are in a similar spot with salary remaining. So it'd be interesting to see if you're going to go after the same tier or if you guys will go down to the 6K range, to be determined. But with Shuffler off the board, Kenny, with your second and third picks, who are you looking at?
Yeah, interesting spot here, right? Because I have my list of guys that I'm pretty locked in on, and it's just like, who do I think you guys might want? And again, with all of us being sort of in the similar price range here, I'm curious to see if this is going to be on your radar. But give me Akshay Bhatia.
Akshay off the board at number 2. And then at 7,400, I think Akshay's a pretty good value play this week. And then where are you going with 3 here, Kenny?
With 3, I will do, again, who do I think is going? Give me the hot hand. Give me Killer Keith Mitchell.
Oh, one of the greatest U.S. Open performances of all time.
He has looked really good recently. So in terms of starting your draft with Scotty and then finding some value to balance that out, I think that's a really good start. And just thinking this through, it maybe contradicts what I said earlier, but I don't think I was thinking it through. In a no-cut event, I actually think Scotty makes more sense because when you have to dive down low to make the rest of the salary savers work, they're getting 4 rounds. You don't have to worry about missed cuts. So you're getting 4 rounds from each guy with Scotty. So from that standpoint, I actually like the way your draft is starting to shape up. And before we move off, go ahead, Kenny.
I just didn't know if you want me to explain either of them.
Please go ahead.
The only thing, Keith is essentially the one guy I'm gonna break my rule with here. As you're trying to narrow down this field in some way, unless I love something, I really want to avoid guys that played in Canada at RBC and then also went and then battled it out the U.S. Open. I'm not. You can't cross U.S. Open guys off this list. Virtually all of them played in the U.S. Open, but I mean, these guys got their ass kicked for a couple of days here. And if you were coming from Canada playing at RBC the week before, I just think you're going to run out of gas eventually. Keith Mitchell is probably the one exception I'm going to make just because of the absolute heater he was on after his first 9 holes last week. And I generally think it's possible for him to keep it rolling. I mean, he has to be feeling like he's got to be on cloud 9 still. And it wasn't a complete aberration. I mean, he played awesome in Canada too. Ball striking's there. So I'm riding the hot hand with Keith. And then Akshay, I'm just someone who I've bet on Akshay quite a bit over the years. I've hit him, I think, twice, but I've lost plenty of bullets on him too. If I know one thing though, it's sort of when to buy Akshay. He's never going to win a tournament or top 5 or whatever without giving you one prior breadcrumb in the most recent tournament. You go back and look at his wins or even just look at recent pop events. He will flush his irons the week before he sort of has a coming out party. And he did that at the US Open, gained strokes against the field in all 4 rounds. This is where you buy the Akshay upswing. He fell off a cliff for a month and a half. I feel like he's back. So I think he might win this week.
Oh, so you calling your shot Akshay for the win this week?
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow. What do you have it handy? What's the actual line on
the umbrella of approval?
What did
I would guess it's probably
there was some 75s. There was some 75 early in the week. It may have even gone up a smidge.
75 is a good number.
Yeah,
you can certainly win.
80. There's
80s
out there.
I kind of like that.
Honestly, you can get, if you go to some of there's books out there that, you can get 95. If anybody wants to know where that is, you can ask me after the show.
Oh, this is this little secret thing we're brokering here, not giving out.
No, I don't want to. With our new sponsor, I don't want to start naming books on this show.
We understand.
That's a very good point. If you're going to make the bet, you should do it on LEVR for sure.
Keith Mitchell, dude. Look at that. That guy had so many great memes all over the U.S. Open. The pictures of him with his hair all disheveled like he just woke up from a nap. You could tell he was absolutely in one. He shot 29 on a 9 in that course. That is unbelievable, dude.
Yes, you're right. Well, unfortunately, I got some more bad news for you, AK. You can't get him because he's gone. But you do have another pick. You got about 7,800 per pick left. Xander and Bradley on your squad. Where are you going with your third?
Look, we're going right down who this course fits the absolute best. This dude gains strokes at this course at an astronomical rate. This is a course you plot around, you dip around, you just kind of stay slow and steady. You don't have to drive the ball a mile. There's only one guy who's gained. No, actually, nobody I think's gained more strokes or 3+ strokes over the last 12 rounds. I saw this on Twitter. I think it was from Ron Close. Brian Harmon finishes this course absolutely savagery from the lefty. Give me a little Brian Harmon right here.
Brian Harmon off the board. Brian Harmon, from what I can tell, from what people are talking about, I think he's going to be popular this week. I think a lot of people are interested in Brian Harmon. 7,800 value play for your roster. Spence, let's go to you. How is your model rating Brian Harmon this week?
I like Harmon. I do want to toot my own horn on this one, though. Like, I don't think the Keegan Bradley one was as impressive, but I had Brian Harmon sitting in there before AK said the pick on that one. So that one I will give myself a little golf clap for. I don't think he really tipped it over the top on that. But look, I mean, yeah, Harmon's going to be popular, but how do you not like the course history of what you've seen? He's a walking top 10 coming to this tournament. So look, yes. I mean, it's a 3-man draft. I think I just want to say about Akshay, I love the pick of Akshay from Kenny. There were so many trending signs that we saw from him that are going to fit this course perfectly. He was definitely on my short list, depending on what this ended up playing out and what this looked like. So going to remove Akshay, going to remove Brian Harmon. I am probably going to... God, this is just like the gross hits that I'm playing right now. This is one of AK's guys that he said he felt gross taking Patrick Cantlay. I'm gonna probably feel gross taking Patrick Cantlay myself here. It is for you guys have advanced, by the way. It has never worked one time in the history of life of me playing Patrick Cantlay. I think he can't miss the cut this week, but like this is going to be a disaster.
But he loves this course. He does great at this course.
He has a lot of courses that he loves, and he repeats the success on them over and over again in 12th, 5th, 4th, 13th, 13th. Like, just give me one of those finishes. Go a little bit closer to what he had been producing recently before that miscut at the U.S. Open. I mean, as you can tell, this is a very flat start for me, where I'm kind of just trying to pick apart this section to, compete against the Scotty Schefflers of the world. And AK I thought might go to Xander. Unfortunately, it put him right into the range of where I am, and Kenny's a little bit lower at this point. But I mean, I think AK and that's the other positive thing for whatever this is worth. Like, I understand we're only talking about an $800 difference, but with Kenny taking Scotty from the very start, he does differentiate what his lineups look like compared to what AK and I are doing. Mm-hmm. We're kind of firing off in the same player pool for the most part, and Kenny was very sharp to grab Batia. That would have been on my short list. So I think it's a good call. I am going to continue this lineup of chaos with a name that I understand did not look good at the US Open, and it does buck the trend of what Kenny just talked about as somebody who played the RBC Canadian and the US Open. I think the caveat to this, for whatever it's worth, is he got his teeth kicked in so badly that he didn't make it to the weekend. So he got out of there a little bit quicker. I'm going to take Shane Lowry at $7,400.
Like that.
Top 30 player for me in weighted strokes gained total. Top 25 when you merge those stats over the last 24 rounds. Really good at short courses. Really good from some of the proximity buckets and ranges I was looking for. I don't think that this is necessarily a name that has the upside that a Batia would to win this contest. But I do think that he has some safety built into the profile that I am kind of trying to, if anybody can tell at this point, like I'm just trying to go safety with all of these picks.
I mean, it's interesting, and I got
outside of Siwoo, by the way. I don't know what that is. I can't really explain the Siwoo one.
I love Siwoo though. He was in my player. I had him written down in my notes. I had Siwoo. He's a birdie dude. The guy's aggressive, and he can make birdies and he can get on fire. Like, he can make a lot of birdies.
I will say, I'm surprised how affordable Lowry is. I mean, he hasn't been maybe in his best form, but for the caliber player he is in this field, I think you're definitely getting a pretty good price on him there. AK, you're up with your fourth. But before we get to it, I'm starting a new segment here on the show. Okay. And this segment's going to be called the fourth round stretch. This is very similar to the seventh inning stretch like in baseball, but we're doing it into the fourth round. And I'm just going to ask you a question. And what I'm curious, you made it, I think now I heard you make 2 references to WWE. I heard the Undertaker reference. I think there was one more you made earlier. So my question for you is, what's your top WWE event that you've ever liked? So obviously WrestleMania is the obvious.
Yeah.
If you want to say that. That's the easy answer. That's fine. But maybe you give us a little different other than
It's
WrestleMania as your top wrestling event.
No, the Royal Rumble. It's without a
Oh.
doubt the Royal Rumble. When the clock counts down and then the music hits, oh my gosh, dude! Some of the crowd pops you get from those, I love it, dude. Back in the Attitude Era, that's where it was.
Yes.
Like we should do a show at some point comping golfers to Attitude Era wrestlers. That would be electric.
You're gonna tell me twice.
Couldn't be more in the it's I think Attitude Era Royal Rumble and the most
Oh,
I can't. I bet you this dude hasn't been named in WWE memories in forever. But I remember Undertaker throwing Maven through a popcorn machine, and I remember watching it through like blurry pay-per-view that we didn't pay for back in the day. I was at WrestleMania when it was in Philly a couple years ago, and actually maybe this is the good vibes I need for Akshay. That was when Akshay won Valero in the playoff against Denny when Denny duffed. Akshay makes the putt to force the playoff, pops his shoulder out celebrating, and then Denny duffed it into the water. I was on like my fourth Hulk Hogan edible gummy in the Lincoln Financial Field parking lot for WrestleMania. So
get your vitamins, brother.
little throwback. Spence, I gotta say, like I like where your lineup's at so far, but there's a really good chance that you are lapping the field on Sunday, and there's no universe where you can feel safe with Ludwig, Siwoo, and Shane Lowry all on. You're just setting yourself up for an anxiety attack come Sunday.
I mean, the best case scenario for me is all these guys are in 17th place and they're not inside of the first page of the leaderboard, because that might be where this implodes on me. You are correct.
Spence, I don't know why you're so down on your lineup. I like your lineup. I think you got a pretty.
I like my lineup also. I mean, I like everybody's lineup though. I mean, it's hard to make a bad build in a 3-person draft the way that we have it right now. I mean, I think everybody's done a very good job. There's one piece that I do want for this that I'm hoping that I can end up getting. I'm a little bit worried that I'm not going to end up being able to draft him, but I guess we can figure that out over these next couple picks.
All right, well, AK and Kenny, it's up to you guys to make sure you get that steal so he doesn't get that pick. AK, with your 4th pick, where are you going from here?
I'm on it. There's 2 things that I'm really looking at, and I am stuck in the lane of course history right now, and I can't get out of it, and I'm going all in. So bear with me when I say that I'm going to pick Justin Thomas, because that guy also loves this course. And I like the way he's playing. And again, if you're playing good and you have good course history, I'm in, right? You know, that's just the way I do things in DFS. I go through, I pick like 4 or 5 guys. I'm like, who can win this tournament? And then I build. That's how I like to do. That's what I like to do. I go 5, depending on what contest I'm in. I'll pick 5 or 6 guys who I think can really make a run, and then I'll build my lineups around them. And I love hand building. I think I said that last time. So, but I'm going Justin Thomas. Let me get him.
I like Justin Thomas. I think he's my favorite player on your roster so far. I think that was a really solid pick. Justin Thomas has just been playing really well. He's in really good form. He likes this course. 9,100. I think it's a fair price. I think that's a really solid pick here in the 4th round. Kenny, I'm going to be honest with you. I was a little bit worried when I turned and asked the wrestling question that you were going to laugh me out of the room, be like, this guy's asking wrestling questions at a golf camp. But I'm glad to hear that you went to WrestleMania. You were totally in. And fun fact for you, Kenny, I actually went to 12 WrestleManias in a row at one point.
No shit.
Then I had kids and had to stop.
My brother's been to 5 or 6. And my older brother is definitely, much more of a deeper fan than me, but he had the extra ticket for day 2 in Philly. So he was kind enough to bring me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, Kenny, you got 2 here. Following up from Justin Thomas, you about $7K per pick left. Where are you going on this turn?
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised that this guy hasn't been off the board. I debated, and I'm not even joking, I debated taking him first because I just assumed he was going to be the value play for everybody. But I'm going to take a guy that has won and finished 4th in his last 2 starts. Took off the RBC Canadian, so the slightly extra rest factor compared to the rest of the field from U.S. Open guys. Course history here isn't that great, but his form has never been this good coming into this course. I don't know how you don't ride the hot hand with JT Poston.
There you go, the postman.
Poston made me a good amount of money on round 4 showdown at the U.S. Open. Played great in round 4. Was very affordable. He's also just one of those guys who's just in good form. He's been playing really well over the last month or so. So at 7,500, Poston off the board. And who is your next pick?
Yeah, another guy that I thought would have been gone already. Just if people had to go value hunting, I guess when I take Scotty, it sort of lightens the burden on everybody else to dive down in this range. But gonna take a guy that is clearly leveled up this year and is gonna have a bit of a chip on his shoulder because he was flushing it going into the U.S. Open and then ended up missing the cut on the number. So some fresh legs, little bit of FU energy coming in. Give me Ryan Gerard.
Ooh.
Ryan Gerard, great ball striker coming off the board. I see Spence making a face. Might be a steal there.
I like that.
Before we move off, I do have a quick question. You said coming into the draft that you had a roster that you were hoping to get. You hope it falls to you that way. Have you gotten every guy that you were hoping to get? Has anyone been stolen from you yet?
No, I have my squad. I've debated my last guy because he has played the last couple of weeks, and I forgot he wasn't as rested, so I'm going to be hunting for my last guy over the next couple minutes here.
But it's gone the way you've wanted thus far.
100%.
All right, there you have it. Kenny has gotten his guys. AK, I would ask you the same question. Has this draft broken the way you were hoping for, or have you had multiple steals so far in this draft?
No, I came in with I'm going to draft Keegan Bradley first. I don't care if I have the first pick, I have the last pick, because this dude loves this course. It's just everybody I played, I think outside of Xander, who does pretty well here. Not last year, but I think everybody outside of that, I've just been picking. I wanted to pick guys in a course where there's a gazillion birdies. I think it matters if you play this course well. If you have a good course history. So far I've gotten pretty much everyone who I wanted, except for Siwoo. I wanted Siwoo, and I was also looking at Akshay. So, and then with Gerard, I was looking at Gerard too, but anyways, yeah, so far I'm pretty happy.
Okay.
But I know Harmon and Bradley, that could also go really bad. So, but anyways, okay. Let's pivot here. There's a guy that I've been playing him any chance I can get. I think the last, month, I've just been putting him in every single make the cut parlay that I've ever made. And I've been putting him in every single DFS lineup I ever make. And that's Gary Woodland. I am attached to Gary Woodland.
Yeah.
For no other reason than he is a stalwart on my teams at all times. We are going down with the ship with Gary Woodland. I don't have any metrics to back that up other than he's just playing really good golf, and I love watching him play golf.
For some strange reason, I thought I was unique in loving Gary Woodland the last month or two and playing him every week. But no, I guess everyone, but not everyone, at least you and I are both loving Gary Woodland and I think this course also is going to suit him really well. I think he's not only just in really good form, but I think this is a good course for the way he's swinging the club. I think he's going to have a great week at 7,600. I think that's a steal. One of my favorite picks of the draft thus far. Love the Gary Woodland pick here in the 5th round. Spence, I want to ask you on Woodland. How does Woodland fare in your model this week? And then you got 2.
Yeah, he's a top 25 player. He moves into the top 16 if I run it for safety. I think there's a lot to like about Gary Woodland, and you guys have kind of talked about it. This is somebody who's trending in a positive direction, 2 top 7s in a row, and that's not even talking about the victory if you want to talk about 3 months ago here. So I think there's a lot to like about Woodland. I will say the Gerard pick did kind of send a knife through me. That was something that
I got that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. That if you look at what Kenny's done with his lineup, I think it's interesting because what you will see is you could start with Scotty and you can have 4 really quality $7,000 golfers, and he's not even in a bad range at 6,700. And I think that's probably the benefit to even answer the initial question that you asked, Joel, of would Scotty be the number 1 pick? I kind of feel like in a 3-man, in the setup that we have, 2 people advance, you can kind of see why the Scotty lineups just look so crisp on paper. And it's not to say that AK's lineup or my lineup aren't also great. I like everybody's lineup that has been constructed so far, but it's 3 good teams. And that's what this is meant to be at the end of the day is you're getting 3 quality drafters with 3 quality lineups, and it's a no-cut tournament, and we're going to see this play out for 4 days, barring a withdrawal that takes place. And as long as we don't get that, I really think that this is going to be up for grabs until about the very end of this, which is going to make it fun from a viewing perspective.
Oh, all right. Well, Spence, you got about 7,500 per pick left, the most left of anyone. You got 2 picks here. How you renting that out your squad?
So I'm going to start with the one that I'm going to drop down, and I'll figure out where I want to go from there. I have a boom or bust lineup in a little bit with the Siwoo stuff, and I'm going to add one more boom or bust quality to this one. And I understand this is somebody that has not played good golf, but I'm just going to bet on the statistical profile and kind of hope for the best. And there's a handful of names. I will mention them at the end of the show. I don't want to start just naming names right now from a strategical standpoint, but it's this guy or somebody else. I'm going to go with this guy. I'm going to take Sepp Straka here at 6,800. Like I said, the form, not going to like what you see. Course history would leave a little bit to be desired. Really good TPC and die course player. Really good from these proximity buckets and similar courses. He's inside of the top 15 for me. I faded him last week. That was somebody that I took on. I had Maverick McNeely over him in a matchup. Straka ended up blowing up on round 2, ends up missing the cut. Not really that worried about whatever that performance ended up being. I think this is a much better course fit for him. So I will start with Straka. If you can give me and ask another question, Joel, give me 1 minute to figure out where I want to go with this last pick. The Gerard thing kind of threw me for a loop.
All right, Spence is scrambling. So we were commenting before the show, Kenny. I'm going to put you on the spot here about your setup. You look like you're broadcasting straight from the middle of like the nicest bar in Philly. You got to give us a little background on how you got the setup like that.
Yeah, man. We moved in here February of 2024, and I'd been streaming upstairs just like in one of the spare bedrooms. Had a half decent setup up there. It was very similar to what I had in our Philly apartment, and then. Once we had the baby, it was just hard to do content up in like an adjacent bedroom. Like, especially like right now he's sleeping. And if I'm sharing a wall with him, I'm like whispering into my microphone on Twitch. And it's just, I knew we needed a better setup. So we worked with this company that my sister had actually used called Finished Basements PA. And they came in beginning of the summer. And this is it, Moonshot HQ. So I virtually live down here, man. I mean, I work down here all day. Taking breaks to hang out with the baby and help out whenever I can. And then my wife goes to bed early and then I just come back down here. So it's virtually my home.
That looks awesome.
Just
How old is your
setup.
baby?
16 months.
16 months. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
You have your hands
That's
full.
a fun age.
It's a really fun age, dude. I just had it myself this past weekend. She was on a bachelorette, which was happy for her. It was really the first time she's been able to do anything the last couple of months. So she had a weekend with her friends, and I took them to my parents' beach house with them, and just closed down the beach every day. Let them just run himself out of gas. It was a lot of fun.
That is awesome. All right, Spence, you got the last pick here. 8,300 to spend. How you rounding out the squad?
It came down when I was trying to figure this out. I think Alex Fitzpatrick makes sense. I don't know if I necessarily trust that the data is not going to regress with him, but I mean, he looks good in my model. I think JJ Spawn, if you ignore what he put together at the US Open, I think that would make logical sense. I hope I don't end up regretting this. This is another golfer that's playing in back-to-back tournaments, although did not get a total of 8 rounds because he missed the cut in one of them. I'm going to take Aaron Rye here at $8,000 and just hope that what we've seen from Aaron Rye this year, outside of that miscut at the RBC Canadian, which was a big underachievement in my model to begin with, you have the victory at the PGA, you have the 5th at the Truist, you have 2 top 20s at the Memorial and the US Open last week. Going to just kind of ride the hot hand here and hope that he doesn't hit a wall at some point this week.
Aaron Rye off the board. That's a wrap for Spence's squad. I like Spence's squad. I don't love it. I will have a pick for who I think is going to win. And I have a strong lean for that. AK, you have your last pick here at 6,900, but I wanted to touch on something. I'm not sure if it was last week's show or 2 weeks ago, but Spence, you mentioned Alex Fitzpatrick. And the consensus on the show, there was multiple people on the show who said at this point, Alex Fitzpatrick is the better of the 2 brothers to Matt Fitzpatrick, which I thought was aggressive at that point. But I'm actually now maybe starting to come around to that as possibly being the truth. I'd love to get both of your takes, and we'll start with you, Kenny. Do you prefer at this point Matt Fitzpatrick or Alex Fitzpatrick?
I mean, if it's just an even coin flip here. And I'm a big Alex Fitzpatrick guy, but like I'm not huffing paint like it would be Matt Fitzpatrick. And if you want to, I think there's a case to be made though in terms of the value, like the price you're getting on one, either in this or in the outright market. Like the only pushback I had on Fitzpatrick this week was just like the pretty heavy workload. Again, he's still, a fresh pup on the PGA Tour, and I think he just went Memorial, Canada, U.S. Open. Like I just it's a lot. So that was the only that was my way of crossing him off this week. But the talent is there. I mean, like anyone who thought that his big brother gifted him a PGA Tour card, I think has learned pretty quickly he was going to get it himself anyway. He's really good.
Boom. How about you, AK?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. It's easy to look back and be like, oh yeah, his brother won on that tour card. And then I love the fact that he got the chance and has basically just been running with it. I think that's phenomenal. So he's kind of made a name for his own self. And I appreciate that. I would probably take Matt though. I would probably take Matt. Matt Fitzpatrick has won. He's won the big one. He's won it multiple times. Dude can play. It's weird to watch him chip around the greens, but the dude can play.
I think you both are. That is still the correct answer. Even though I will say Alex Fitzpatrick is starting to make it interesting, but Matt is still clearly the correct answer. All right, AK, you got your last pick, 6,900. You certainly can't afford a Fitzpatrick brother. How are you rounding out your squad from here?
No, we've got 6,900. Nice, congrats. Shout out us. I think last time I left like 500 on the table, and people are like, "What? I got to ask, is that something you'll do?" I'm like, "Yes, I'll leave a couple hundred on the table if I have somebody that I like." Like right now, I'm looking down the barrel. I had Ricky Fowler in the pool, and then I looked at his recent play, and I'm like, holy cow, that guy's playing terrible. He hasn't made a cut in like 3 weeks. It's been a shame, but he does play this course well. But I've drafted an all-American team, and I think we need a little flair from foreign soil. So we're going to take Corey Connors because this dude is very good at the approach range that this course demands. And we're going to be, I think what did he do last week? He was top 25 last week. So he hasn't been playing well the entire year, but I like the fact that he fits a profile of the Pete Dye course where he's going to have to hit a lot of wedges and a lot of shorter approach shots. So he's very good at that shot at least. So if he can get a lot of those, we're good to go. If not, I'll just blame Canada, maybe.
It's funny. Kenny is basically all-American. You just took your first non-American, and Spencer is all non-American except for Patrick Hale.
I am all American, and I will be rounding it out. We are rounding it out with an American as well.
So I guess to stay on the WWE theme, they're gonna do like the Hulk Hogan theme song with like the "I am a real," and then you can pick your last pick and round out the American squad heading up to the 4th of July, which is very patriotic of us here on King of the Draft. So Kenny, with your last pick, you promised us an all-American squad. How are you rounding out the team?
I think more appropriate WWE music for the quality of this pick, and I think the overall strategy that I've displayed here is Doink the Clown, because I've got 6,700 left, and I had a 6,700 offer that I liked, and I've talked myself out of them. I can't do it, and there's nobody else really close that I can get to. So I am in a 3-man weave here. I'm going to be leaving $500 on the table on a guy that I don't think is top 20 in 3 or 4 months. So that is your sales pitch. Denny McCarthy, 6,200.
Denny McCarthy, last pick off the board. Should we call him Mr. Irrelevant, right? The last pick, you got him here. The King of the Draft's official Mr. Irrelevant. That's a wrap for the draft tonight. Do us a favor, smash the like button, give us a follow. Please hit like and subscribe. It goes a long way. We're super excited and thankful for LEVR for giving us a sponsor. We'll have more details to come, but there will be a big prize for the winner of this tournament. So stay tuned for that. Before we get everyone out of here tonight, we do have one final segment where I'd love to get our favorite bet of the week from everyone here. And we'll start with you, Spence. What is your favorite bet of the week this week?
I don't have much in action right now, but I want to ask Kenny a question before we move on, because I thought the player he was talking about was Corey Connors, and then AK took him and found out it's not, pivoted to Denny McCarthy instead.
It was going to be a bit of a stretch, but he's one of my guys, and I at least found a couple of reasons to get there. I was going to go Nick Taylor. It felt like a good bounce back spot for him after the missed cut at the U.S. Open. I mean, this is a guy that plays a very, very full schedule. And you just look, I mean, he just hasn't had it for the last month and a half. It hasn't been atrocious. He's not missing cuts, but it hasn't been there. And again, over the last couple of years, he's a guy that doesn't miss a lot of cuts, and his bounce back after his rare missed cuts is usually pretty strong. He's a guy that can recalibrate well. It's a course that sets up well for him. And again, it's a guy that has won me a ton of money in the past. Even though with the missed cut at the U.S. Open, heavier workload, and I felt like I was reaching a bit. I'm reaching even more with Denny here, but the brief sales pitch on Denny, he has hemorrhaged strokes with the driver this year. Like I think he has lost strokes off the tee in every single start this year, and he's still doing enough of everything else to scrap through some cuts. This is a course where you don't really have to hit the driver. Has had great success here over the last couple of years, and it's like this is the part of the season where he typically starts to heat up. You kind of get him going in the summer. And the last time we saw him out was Canada. He flushed his irons, and very un-Denny McCarthy-like, he lost 3.5 strokes putting, which is something he hasn't done in God knows how long. So it's a good bounce back spot for him. He's coming in very, very fresh on a course he's had success on. Is it the right type of play for this format? Absolutely not, because it's very, very, very boom or bust. This is a GPP dart, but I kind of made my bet here, and this is how I'm choosing to lie in it.
You know, I'm going to say, and Spence, I don't know if you have time, if you're able to pull what your model says in terms of which lineup they think is going to win based on this draft. But my personal pick, and it's pretty close. I think all three teams are good, and I think anyone can win. But if I had to pick one right now, I'm going to go with Kenny's team. After seeing it play out, I think I've come to the guy that I think I said the opposite at the start, but I think Scotty is certainly in play, and I think it's mainly because you're guaranteed 4 rounds from everyone else. So even if you have to go down in the low 6K range to get somebody, you're not going to have any cut missers. If Scotty goes out and has a great week, I think the way you can balance out a roster with him isn't going to be all that much different than it would be had you kind of done a more balanced approach anyway.
Yeah, the only other guy that I was really torn on was Bridgman. I feel like Bridgman. I really like what I'm seeing from him. He has this weird thing. I noticed this. I'm looking right before the show. He's done the exact same thing, like very specifically in specific rounds. Like over like the last month, he's been. Now he corrected this at the U.S. Open and in Canada, but he was abysmal with the putter in round 1. Actually, hold on. If you look at his round 1 putting data, he's lost a full stroke or more putting in round 1 in 7 of his last 8. And this is one of the best putters on tour. And then round 2, 3, 4, he has figured it out. The other thing that he does is he tends to play really well in round 2. And then in round 3, he gets to Saturday and he can't hit fairways out of nowhere. The putter wakes up, the irons are there, and then he can't hit fairways. So he's just been playing ping pong with his game a little bit. Overall, I think it's trending back to where it was in the beginning of the season. And this is a place, again, that should set up well for him. And if you need a guy to go out there and make a billion birdies, I think he's someone that certainly could. So he was on the short list here. And then I kind of panicked when I was changing some names around, and he unfortunately got scrapped.
He's number 1 on proximity from 100 to 150.
Well, there you go.
This dude's a baller.
He's a player. I mean, shout out Clemson or South Carolina for pissing Clemson off by using a fake. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was pretty funny. But they used a fake Clemson skyline. But so he's a Clemson guy. Jacob Bridgman's probably mad. So
there you have it. All right.
Yeah, Bridgman was on my short list also. And by the way, Joel, I will run numbers for this. And like, granted, I am drafting based off of my models. So like, it's whether I'm right or wrong will end up deciding just how good my picks were on it. But I'm going to say this, and I hate this answer. It is going to be embarrassingly close on these outputs of who advances. I think everybody crushed it. Like that's an unfortunate situation here for me. So I don't even know that it's going to have me as like the optimal lineup on this thing. I could see it being either of the other two. I thought both of them kind of like, if you look at what Kenny did, and we don't need to spend a ton of time on this because we've been talking about it, but if you look at what Kenny did, you go Akshay, you go with a hot Mitchell who, is just on fire of just shooting par over and over again and not like really putting himself in a bad spot. Poston found a lot of form. I think Gerard's one of the best values and bounce back spots on the board. And then Denny McCarthy is going to be what ends up being the boom or bust of this. But I like the overall viewpoint of it. Like, find some fairways, don't put yourself in a bad spot. And if the putter can get hot, you can get nuclear with the putter at any given time. And that's what he can do. And that's what he's done in the past. And then look at what AK has done. Bradley, Harmon, Thomas, like these are some of the best course history names. And then you add that to Xander, who's won, and Woodland, who's on fire, and Corey Connors, who really popped last week. Like, I faded him in some spots that I ended up losing. I had Aaron Rye against him in some in-tournament matchups, and I ended up losing those spots. Corey Connors' ball striking was as good for a lot of those days as anybody in the tournament. And I know we haven't seen it, and AK talked about it, but like, we are starting to see it now. We are starting to see it from Akshay. Like, all these names are trending at the right time. And then you look at my lineup and you have some volatility. You have Siwoo, who just missed a cut. You have Straka, who can't do anything right. I'm kind of really buying into the safety at the top and then the volatility on the other names, and hope that one of those options can compete with Scotty that's not supposed to, and I earn points that I'm not supposed to on like a Sepp Straka or a Shane Lowry. Like, that was my viewpoint on this in a 3-man draft, is go as safe as I can and just take random shots in spots if I could. So I think everybody did a great job.
Amen.
There you have it. Again, I'm going to remind everyone, another special thanks to LEVR for sponsoring the show. We'll be coming out with more details with our look like, but there will be a championship belt included. With that being said, I'd love to get a take, and we'll start here with you, Kenny. Is there one bet you would recommend everyone runs to LEVR and places for this week?
Depending on price, again, because I welcome our good friends from LEVR and thank you for sponsoring the show. I'm going to repeat to someone who I just talked about, but I'm talking myself into a little bit of a Denny McCarthy stack here. Like, personally, like I like him for like milli maker stuff, but like I'm not gonna bet him for top 40 or whatever at like, at minus 130, but like Denny top 10, including ties at 11-1, I might get a taste of that. I can't play each way bets where I'm from, so Denny placements, and then maybe Denny winner without Scotty might get $1 out of me for at 200-1.
Boom! All right, Denny McCarthy. How about you, AK? Where were you running to? What bet are you running to LEVR to place for this week's tournament?
Xander Schauffele, top 10. Keep it simple. The guy's a top 10 machine. That's what he does for the 4th of July.
Simple. High floor, Xander. Keep him in the top 10. Cash that bet. I love it. I want to wish you guys the best of luck. You guys have been great guests, and we got a great competition here. Before we get you guys out of here tonight, Kenny, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me I'm mostly on Twitter or X, the everything app, but at KillKenny, KIIL Kenny. I stream on Twitch occasionally, pretty randomly, and anywhere else you can find on my profile. But just come hang out with me on Twitter. I follow most people back, and hope you like what I'm putting down.
Kenny's a great follow if you're betting on sports, any sport, golf, you name it.
Yo, I got it though. I think I've found, I think if you want a piece of, I think, bomb Denny, I actually kind of like this a lot. To shoot the lowest 18-hole score of the tournament, Denny McCarthy 120-1,
Ooh,
that's worth $1.
I think
one day to go.
He's gonna go 70, 71, 62, 77.
Kenny loves Denny. Let's go.
And for anybody that doesn't know Kenny, and maybe watching this for the first time, I mean, I know Kenny has more followers than all of us put together here, and I'm sure most people do.
No one cares about any of that.
But to talk about, I mean, you had one of the, if we want to talk about big dollars and big money that's come in, you had one of the bigger tickets I've seen posted when you had Chris Goddard up earlier this year. Want to talk about that for just 1 second?
I will, only because it's like I haven't really hit all that much since then, and I've had like an immensely profitable year really because of that, and I haven't been able to channel the magic since. But one thing I take pride in, man, again, if you're relatively new to me, like these are some of the shots that I like to take, but like on a weekly basis, man, my card is low. Like I'm a unit guy, and I'm usually like a unit and a half a week. I never do more than 2, maybe 3 outrights. Majors, I might give you a 4th because it's a major and I'm feeling a little frisky, but I keep my cards light, and these are the types of spots that I look for. The Goddard up one, like, look, I think if you're in this world, whether it's DFS or betting or whatever, like you have to just embrace the variance and embrace all of the swings that come with it. Like I've been on the wrong side of some pretty disgusting beats. Like I had a $50,000 pot geeter ticket when Brian Campbell shanked it into the woods, tree spit it back out. Like that was, at the time, that was the single worst loss I've ever had. But on the flip side, you get Goddard up, who miraculously ends up winning that thing. And I for a second, I thought he could even win it in regulation. Hideki had like a 4-footer coming back just to force the playoff. Like, that's one I just feel like we had no business winning. And to get that one to come through, it's a good reminder that, like, for all the times you want to complain about bad luck, like, at least acknowledge it when it goes in your favor. And that was one of those things.
Well,
Really, all that was
on Spencer's point, Kenny, I've seen some of your home runs. You've hit some of the biggest home runs, some of the biggest bets I've ever seen. I guess my last question for you on that is, Kenny, what's your favorite hit? It doesn't have to be this year. Just what's your favorite big hit that you've ever had?
I think my favorite one is Pot Eater at Rocket Mortgage. I would say it comes down to one of two. I mean, Goddard up obviously was something else, but like, I didn't even get to like enjoy the sweat. Like, I think if you have an outright long shot in the mix on Sunday, I don't think there's any better gambling sweat in any sport. Like, I love the NFL. I bet the NFL. There's nothing more electric than having a guy chasing down a lead on a back nine, right? I didn't really get that sweat with Goddard up. He was out of it the entire round. I think he had like 3 shots on coverage the entire Sunday. So there wasn't really that like sweat equity factor. Pot Eater at Rocket Mortgage last year, I solo bulleted that. I placed one bet the entire week, and it was a max bet. I think FanDuel capped me at $800 on Pot Eater to win Rocket, and then 6-hole playoff with Grazerman. That one's my baby. And then the last one, Blades Brown earlier this year at Amex. I had Blades Brown to shoot the low round at the Nicholas course. I think that Friday when he shot 60, he had like the bunny putt on 18 to shoot 59. Got a read from David Ford too, who made it, and then he pulled it. But that was probably my most unique golf bet I've ever hit, and that one just felt good. I talked to his caddy that morning, and I even DM'd him. I was like, I smell a 60 today. He replied back after the round, was like, you couldn't have smelled a 59. Like, what the fuck?
That is good. That's awesome. All right, AK, how about yourself? Tell everybody before we get you out of here, where can everyone find you?
At Millie Goats on Twitter, and then we're on pretty much every other social: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, all those different places. We put out shows twice a week. We're actually recording our podcast tomorrow night, so it'll be out Thursday. They come out Mondays and Thursdays, and we're a big football podcast. We're a big golf podcast. We've interviewed a couple of different NFL players, a couple of different PGA guys: Michael Kim, Mark Hubbard, Andrew Novak. Had those guys on a couple of times. And it's basically just sports shenanigans. It's locker room talk, essentially, is what it is. You know, we do DFS, and we make little betting cards during football season and things like that. But yeah, Mondays, Thursdays, podcast comes out. We do live shows Wednesdays, Sunday nights. Yeah. And just all you got to do is type in the Millie Goats anywhere on those social medias. That's where we're at.
The Millie Goats are always a good time. If you don't already, make sure you follow and check them out. You certainly will not be disappointed. Before we get you out of here, AK, what's your favorite bet that you've ever had?
I've won a couple of the GPPs on NFL on showdowns. Showdowns are my favorite. I love doing the 20 max showdowns on DraftKings DFS. That's probably been I think it was a Sunday night Dallas. I think this past year I won one. Sunday night Dallas versus Detroit Lions shootout. That was freaking awesome because I think it's those DFS GPPs, man. Every single yard matters. You know, and I can't remember. It was something crazy that happened at the very end where I think it was Jake Ferguson did something crazy that allowed me to win the GPP. And I won. That was the biggest win I've ever had. So that was pretty cool. Be able to win a few of those. I've been close to the Millie Maker in golf multiple times, but of course things have not gone that way. But I've won a couple of those in NFL and golf. So not the Millie Maker yet, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. It's knocking on the door. We are getting there. I love it. We had a lot of fun with you guys tonight. I'm sorry we went a few minutes over. Spence, did I forget anything?
No, thank you to AK and Kenny for drafting with us tonight. Thank you for everybody who's tuned into this show. We have another big contest next week that will be involving you and your group, Joel. So, stay tuned. I will be tweeting the results of who's won and
Spence, I just want to say, man, like, thanks for putting this together. I mean, I know this was a lot of effort getting this organized, coordinating with seemingly, all the heavy hitters in golf Twitter. So it's fun to be a part of it, man. And thanks for thinking of me, and thanks for doing all the grunt work in the background here.
Of course, I appreciate that, and hopefully this is something that progresses on throughout time. And this is we do this yearly together, and that's the hope. So I appreciate
Thank you,
you
man.
guys.
Good deal. Peace, guys.
Good luck.